everybody, what's going on? Kio-chan here, and welcome back to another review on SomethingNewOtaku. And today's review is of the first 13 episodes of a series called KimiKiss Pure Rouge. This was a blind pickup for me because I had never even heard of this series until recently when I decided to pick it up during the 12 days of Christmas sale on Right Stuff. I briefly checked out the blurb about it and observed the animation on the cover, and it all looked pretty good, so I decided to pick it up, and I'm glad I did because it is a pretty intriguing series. So what's it about? It's basically about these three childhood friends that were separated but came back together during their high school years. And the series basically talks about their ups and downs with high school romance. So it's a romantic-based story. It has elements of comedy mixed in, elements of slice of life, and it also deals with the issues of love triangles. There are two specific love triangles that do develop later on in the series, in the later half of the first 13 episodes. I don't know if it continues past that point, but I'm sure it is still touched upon toward the end of the series. So we have our three main characters. We have Koichi, we have Kazuki, and we have Mao. Mao is the girl of the group, and she moved to France for a couple of years to study and then came back to Japan to go to college there. So she's going to start with high school and then go to a Japanese college. So Kazuki, Mao, and Koichi have been best friends since they were kids. And it basically follows them and the friends that they have outside of that group. So what do I think of this series? I think it's a pretty intriguing series. It keeps your interest from beginning to end. Of course, I'm talking about the first 13 episodes. I'm sure it will continue to do so throughout, but the first 13 episodes, from beginning to the end of the 13th episode, were pretty intriguing. It kept my interest. There really was no boring part of the series thus far, so I had to applaud them for that. They have a lot of great moments. The first one was during the first episode, and that is when we meet Koichi and Mao. Koichi was at home, he was relaxing, then all of a sudden the doorbell rings, and Mao is standing there. Of course, he has no idea who she is. And eventually, she walks into the house like she owns the place, and starts doing things like a person who lives there. She takes a couple of his drinks, she goes and takes a shower, and he's standing there wondering what the heck is going on, who's this person, and why are they in his house. He later finds out that this young lady is actually one of his childhood friends who moved away and then came back. So that was a pretty interesting beginning. I thought that was a really great way to introduce the series. Another interesting thing that happened was how the relationships developed for Kazuki and Mao. Koichi's was kind of cliche, you know, kind of happened like you would expect a relationship to happen. But the other two were kind of strange, but interesting at the same time. So first let's start with Mao's relationship. She started to get an interest in a person in her class, and his name is Kai. And at first he was this really big jerk. He was kind of like blowing her off and not really speaking to her or anything. And eventually she wants to find out what's going on, what's his deal, and they finally figure out what it is that's bugging him, and they settle their differences, and then they become friends, and then it becomes a little bit more than that. He begins to see her as a love interest, and he kind of goes and says, "Will you be my girlfriend?" in a roundabout way, and stuff like that happens. So it's really interesting to see how their relationship developed from not even speaking to one another to practically being at each other's side at all times. And the other crazy thing that happened with relationships was with Kazuki. He was at school one day and he found a piece of paper that belonged to another student, and he went to return it. And the person he had to give it to was a genius. She has an IQ of 190, and she's kind of an aloof person. No one really knows much about her. She's not really approachable. But she decides that she wants to try something. She does an experiment, and the experiment was to kiss him. Which I thought was the most bizarre thing. Like, where do you come off doing an experiment to kiss a guy? It didn't make much sense, but it was really interesting, and it's fun to see how their relationship kind of developed as well. So, I really liked how the relationships of this series grow and develop throughout all the episodes. So there's really never a dull moment. The characters are pretty likable. Like I mentioned, Kai was the only person I didn't really like in the very beginning because of his kind of jerky attitude. But after that, I kind of liked him because he is a pretty interesting character. So I totally recommend you guys check this series out. It's totally worth getting. It's really interesting. And it has a lot of emotion. It just keeps you interested and makes you want to see what's going to happen next. So I totally recommend that you guys check it out. I will post links in the description below as to where you can get it legally. I don't think there's anywhere you can watch it legally, but I know you can definitely get it on Right Stuff, and I'm sure you can get it on Amazon as well. So I will be posting links down there. I hope you guys check it out. And that is all I can say for this review. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!